So before we get our minds wired for creation, it's important to understand how the universe works from the human perspective and how the flow of creation works. Because everything in the history of anything followed the same exact process of creation. Everything from when God created the earth, or the Big Bang, whatever you want to call it, to creating this headset right here. So, first part is understanding the levels of consciousness as we experience it as humans. So there are 5 levels of consciousness that are out there, and each layer embodies the layer before it, and it continues to rise until we get into like the entire universe. Okay, which we'll get to that in a second. So the first density of existence, okay, or of consciousness. Now we refer to this as 1D. This could be seen as the first density, because the first density of energy, or it could be the first dimension. They have 2 different meanings, but they ultimately mean the same thing. So the first density of what's the word I'm looking for? I just said it. Jesus. The first density of consciousness. I forget the word consciousness. Anyways, so the first density of consciousness is Earth. Okay, so these trees behind me, the rocks, this rope here, all of things that are made out of matter. Okay, so these trees have 1 dimension of existence. They simply exist. They can't move. They think in their own way, but they don't think like we do. And they're made out of genetic material. So in order to pass information in first density, like plants, trees, and stuff like that, what has to happen is they have to experience the environment, then their seeds get a slight change, then the next seed plants. In order for there to be a change in plants or trees, takes many generations and tens of thousands of years. And it simply just exists. It can't move. If this tree back here isn't getting any sun, like, it can't decide, oh, I'm gonna move over there on the beach to get some sun, right? The second density of consciousness, at that time, is animals, creatures. Now they're made out of 1D material, as in they're made out of genetic material, but they also have instinct. They have the ability to move and to make choices. Whereas first density doesn't have the ability to make choices. It merely is just a byproduct of its environment. Second density creatures, like they literally, if a squirrel, or here in Costa Rica, a monkey, it doesn't have food in this part of the jungle, they can decide to go to another part of the jungle. Now, the third density of consciousness are humans. Now, humans are made out of genetic material. We have primal instincts and we can move around, but we also have an important tool that no other creature on the planet has, which is language. There are other creatures that can communicate, but they don't have the elaborate communication of grammar. And what grammar allows us to do is it allows us to reflect on the past and anticipate the future. This is what makes humans like really amazing planning machines, right? And the advantage of having access to 2D time, the past, present, or the past, future, and the present, is that we can learn from people in the past, and we can collaborate with people in the future. And this gives us a huge advantage. This is why the human race has evolved so much faster than any other creature on the planet. And so animals and trees, they live in 1D time. So my dog Mojo can't get excited about his birthday, 6 months from now, right? And he also can't be sad about a friend that he doesn't see anymore from 10 years ago. He lives in the present. He lives in the now. But humans were able to anticipate the future, and we're able to learn from the past. Now, this gives us, to learn from the past allows us to attain wisdom that we didn't have to learn through our own experiences, which animals only learn through the experience of the animals around them. The way that animals learn from the previous generations is through genetics. Same thing as trees, and humans have that too. And humans can plan in the future. Now this gives us the ability of foresight in in 2D time, which no other creature has. Now the disadvantage of this is if we attach sadness and shame to the past, creates depression and actually stops the creation process. Or if we start worrying and we attach fear to the future, it creates anxiety, and that also slows down the creation process as well. Then the fourth density is the ethereal world. Now, in this is the world where your thoughts exist, where your emotions exist. This is the world where Wi-Fi exists. It's a wave of which you cannot see but still carries communication. And in this realm, in our own minds, there are two different types of entities or creatures. There are angels. Those are the entities that perpetuate positive thought and loving thoughts. And then there are your monsters, or some people call them demons or the devil. I like calling them monsters; it's a little cuter. And they perpetuate pain, fear, worry, and anxiety. And on a higher vibration is where the angels live, and on the lower vibration is where the monsters live. And we'll get into the hierarchy of angels and monsters later, because that actually is like the essence of all creation. So finally, we've got the fifth density. And the fifth density is the universe, or God, or whatever you want to call it. And this is all that is. Everything that exists in the universe is of the universe. So 1D, 2D, 3D, 4D, all is of 5D. Very similar to, like, this is my elbow and this is my nose, but both of these are Spencer, right? Spencer would be the 5D, and these would be elements of the 5D, if that makes sense. So now that we understand the nature of creation and these different levels, this is what we call the 5D model. And the 5D model runs across all of existence. And in our training, you're gonna start to see the world in these 5 different densities or dimensions. And it is absolutely going to change the way that you approach your challenges, the way you approach your creations. And that's why it's important to really understand and lock into this meta model of the universe and of consciousness, so you can better work it in order for you to be able to consciously create your life. Okay? So how creation works is it all starts with the endless catalog of the universe. Okay? 5D, the possibility of anything and everything. And from there, we feel an emotion. And through that emotion, we then articulate that emotion as a plan through our language. And then we take that plan and we implement it through actions. And then through those actions, you end up getting a result, a thing. Just like these trees and these headphones are a thing. Like this is all 1D stuff. It's made out of matter. And that's how creation works. So I want you to think about this. This awesome jungle swing bed, because it does swing here, started, like, I'm physically sitting on it. It's keeping me up. It's making me actually quite comfortable. And it started off as someone's thought. So at some point, there was a human that was walking around these jungles, and they were sitting on the ground with all the rocks and the stones and the dirt, and they get this feeling of dissatisfaction up in 4D. They got a feeling. And they said, you know what? This doesn't work for me. You know what would be nice? And they got inspired emotionally. And then they started planning using language and putting it into a plan and a strategy. You know what would be nice is if I was sitting up nice and high, so I wasn't getting bit by iguanas, which almost happened to me earlier today. It's like, you know what? It would also be nice if it was nice and soft, like if there was like a cushion there. And you know what would be awesome too is if there was some shade. So if the sun's coming down, I wouldn't get so hot. And so they create this vision of what it is that will satisfy that dissatisfaction, which dissatisfaction turned into idea becomes a desire. And once you've created that desire, then you've created the vision using language, and then you make an action step. Okay, we're gonna need, I'm assuming there's cotton in this. We're gonna need some cotton. We're gonna need a sheet. We're gonna need some rope. we're gonna need some wood, and we're gonna need a roof. And so they get all the materials together, and then they make action steps, just like IKEA furniture. Attach this to that, attach that to that, attach this to that, sew this, screw that in, and they take sequential steps, and someone then took actions, movement, 2D, right? And after all of those actions, they got the thing, which is this wonderful, beautiful daybed that has a roof up here, and it swings like this. Awesome. So literally, I am sitting on someone's thought, literally sitting on the vibration of someone's thought that flowed down through the creation process to actually become a physical thing. Started out as a thought, became a plan, turned into actions, became a thing. And anything ever in the history of anything was created through this process, whether it's a relationship, your new body that you're working on, that business that you're working on, that art that you're working on, whatever your vision is, it starts with the endless possibility of the universe, becomes, it derives from dissatisfaction, becomes inspiration, turned into a plan, carried out by actions, and then actually is the thing. And so as we're going through this creation process, it's important for you to understand how the game works, because we're just players in the game. Our brain is just the controller of the game. So we got to understand how does the game work, and then we can understand how to press the right buttons in order to get the results that we want. So I want to share with you, all of this stuff is the same thing. Everything at its essence is vibrational energy. And what we know about energy is it is both a particle and a wave simultaneously. So this case right here that carries the microphone that I'm using right now is literally, it's not solid. It's actually a series of waves that are vibrating at a density that makes it solid. Okay? And so this is what we consider real, right? Because it's solid. But here's the thing. What makes something real to us is that we can experience it. Well, right now, you are experiencing Wi-Fi, although you've never seen a Wi-Fi wave ever a day in your life, right? So it is real. Your thoughts are vibrational, just as this is vibrational, and they're physical matter throughout your entire life. If you were to measure the atomic weight of all of your thoughts, it would actually be the weight of a mosquito. So it does have a physical weight. So thoughts have a physical weight, and these have waves. It's just the level of consciousness that it flows down. That it starts out as a wave that you can't see, to a wave that you can hear and you can think about, to a wave that is in motion, like a kinetic wave, turned into a physical thing. So that is how creation works. So I want you to start seeing, and you're going to start seeing a theme in the teachings throughout this course of how everything fits that 5D model. So that is the 5D model of the universe. That is how conscious creation works. Now that you know how the game is played, let's get into playing the game.